Alright guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the best CS2 gloves under the $300 mark as of October 2024. I'm going to have 10 options here plus a bonus pick, and we're going to use a vanilla knife with all of them just to offer that sort of neutral comparison so that there's not a knife making gloves look better than they might do otherwise. And let's not waste any time, let's get into it. Now, the first pair you can see here is the Specialist Gloves Field Agent in field test that they will run you about $250. Obviously, you can see some wear still coming through on the thumb, but overall, this is a 0.25 float. I've accounted for a little bit of the overpay that might be there, but depending on the site you're buying them on, you may end up creeping to maybe like a $270, maybe a $280 to get like the overpay for the float you want, whether you want a clean thumb or clean knuckles. But either way, I like these as blue with the yellow accents. You can go into blue steels, you can go for like the blue Dopplers, you can even go for a lower knife, stuff like that. So there's a lot you can do with these. Specialist gloves are sought after, and these are pretty nice. Now, I know some people dislike the Becker gloves, as they like to call them, but for me, I think the Imperial Blades are actually a really nice pair of gloves, especially when you consider the only other purple option is the Pandora's Box, which you need an entire loan to be able to afford. So these field tests are like $295. Again, I've gone for a middle of the realm sort of field test of float, so you do see some scuffs coming through in the knuckles. Obviously, you could try and snipe a pair of lower float or just pay the extra $10, $15, $20 to get a pair with lower float. But overall, if you want a purple loadout and you want purple gloves, this is kind of what you're going to be going for. Then going back to a more blue option, I have Battle Scarred Cobalt Skulls. These are 0.55 float, just for the context. They're about $285 in Battle Scarred. Now, obviously, you do see there some evident markings coming through. It loses a little bit of the colour, but overall, I don't think they lose enough colour to really sort of shit on them for being a Battle Scarred pair of gloves. Like, if you want a blue loadout and you like the hand wraps, I know some people don't like seeing the fingers, personal preference, all that, these can be a really nice base pair of gloves. A Phase 3 Doppler with these will look sick. Now, I actually got some shit on Discord this morning because I suggested potentially going back to the Turtles with a Tiger Tooth knife. The community seemed very much against that. You guys can let me know your thoughts on it, but Turtles in minimal wear run you about $250. Now, the one thing I love about this is Moto gloves get shit on because of the knuckles. People don't like how big and clunky they look, but in minimal wear for $250, you get an incredibly clean pair of gloves. Whether or not you want this crazy green with a lot of orange accents, that's up to you, but I think for $250, these should probably be in consideration. Now, obviously, a lot of people like sport gloves, and with that, you can go now for field-tested Scarlet Shams, which is really nice. Now, honestly, I think Scarlet Shams, you can buy them in Battle Scarred and well-worn. They will still hold up pretty damn well. Battle Scarred is probably, if you go low-float Battle Scarred, you get a good value for money, but here you get field test, again, 0.25 float in the sort of middle. You can see there's still some wear on the knuckle, some fading on the palms, but overall, these are an incredibly clean pair of gloves that obviously allow you to go for rubies, slaughters, even like black lambs and vanillas because of the black accents on them. You can do a lot with these and they will just look insane in game as well. Going right to the top of our budget, if you want a neutral pair of gloves, I think the smokeouts could be the consideration for you here. Now, I am a big fan of Nox, but they're just over that $300 mark, and a lot of people want to complain that they look too close to the basic gloves. So smokeouts here, you get that black and white, you get a little bit of grey, they're minimal wear, so they are going to be clean. And I actually like the greyish knuckle on them because it allows you to go for vanillas, urban masks, even stain knives, stuff like that, and really just go for something that's a bit more unique. And if you remember my Asimov orange loadout that I had for a little while, you'll know I absolutely love the foundation gloves. In field test, they'll run you about $290. I would recommend, if you've got the money, to try and go for a lower float pair. I think the pair I had was like 0.17, and they looked incredibly clean. But you can even see here, knuckle-wise, and like the markings on the E, these are a pretty clean pattern and pair for 0.25 float. And what I do like about these is I think you can actually use these as a pretty neutral glove in a loadout. Like if I just get different skins, obviously there's a bit of an orange accent still coming through, but mostly it's like this black and this like whitey silver, so you can kind of get away with just using mixed skins and not having to force a theme. Now, it's time for 3 sport gloves back to back to finish this off. My first one is going to be the Arids. Now, Battle Scarred, don't get me wrong, these do take a bit of a beating, and it's $260. But if you want sports gloves, you want something that's a little bit different, a bit against the grain. You don't see these too often in game. And obviously, I think they're pretty neutral. I think these allow you, again, to go into like a mix of different skins. Granted, the 2 I've just put on are quite fitting for it. But even like a Dragonfire here, I think they actually like hold up pretty well with them. So I don't know. I feel like these are just slightly different and you don't see them too often. So maybe that's why you should consider them. The next pair is actually my own, but in well-worn instead of field tested. It is, of course, the Omegas. Now, well-worn is going to run you about $290 for these, and much like the Vice gloves, the Omegas do pick up wear quite heavily along the knuckles and on the thumb as well. Now, the knuckle wear, for me, I think the Omegas can kind of get away with it a little bit because it's that sort of greyish black, and when you use it in-game, eventually you're not really going to notice. Like, honestly, if you looked at that thumb there, that left thumb, and I told you that was a well-worn pair of gloves, you probably would think I'm lying. You'd think that's a low field test. In some cases, like even Amphibious, with how bad they were, you take that as like a min wear. So I think that's pretty good. It's really just the knuckles and the fingers where you get the problem area. And now one of my favorite sports gloves are the Big Game, and that's because in field tested, these are only $230. Now, I always say Tiger Tooth and Big Game is such a good value for money combination. You can get the gloves and the knife for like under $400 depending on the knife you go for. So overall, I'm a big fan of these. I think if you're looking for sports gloves and you're just wanting to go for a combo that fits well and you don't worry about theming the whole loadout, these should 100% be in consideration. Now, that's the 10 that I have picked here, but I do have a bonus suggestion for you. And it's going to be the King Snakes. Now, normally my preference would be massively towards Snow Leopard, but some people for some reason don't like the Snow Leopard. I don't know why. Maybe they think it's too girly. I don't know. The King Snakes are a bit more manly for them. So here you go. King Snakes field tested 325. Field tested King Snakes look worse than field tested Snow Leopards. Kind of looks like it's been up an elephant's ass with the amount of green and brown coming out of it. But if you want a true neutral pair of gloves and you don't want moto gloves, then I think King Snakes or the Snow Leopards would be the pick here. But that is gonna be me. Honestly, I could have probably put like 5 more options in here, but at that point I'm just listing every pair of gloves that have a version in that price range. So I really wanted to go for what I thought was my top 10 that either allowed for a really nice combo or a very nice themed loadout. Either or, that's kind of the two main things we aim for here. But outside of that, I'm going to end it there. I'm not going to waffle too much longer. So a big thank you for all the support in the channel recently, guys. And if you're new around here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoyed it. And then a big shout out to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. It is greatly appreciated and allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. If you want to find out more about that, make sure you hit that join button down below. And I'm going to catch you guys in tomorrow's video where I look at my ultimate end game loadout. I'll see you guys there. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.